The pharmaceutical company Pfizer has a history of about 2 centuries. The company has been through many allegations, triumphs, and lows. Despite it all, the venture has helped humankind fight many diseases, and the most recent and significant one was the introduction of the COVID-19 vaccine. Hello folks, welcome to yet another exciting video. In today's video, we will give you a deep insight into Pfizer's happening. For a company that has lasted several years, the history, ups and downs will be abundant. So without any further ado, let's begin. Pfizer was established in 1849 and has a rich history of over 160 years. Over the years, the company has transformed itself into a pharma giant. So before we look into the controversy the company has faced, let's get to know the colorful history of one of the biggest drug makers globally. Did you know that 2 German immigrants to the USA founded the company? The 2 founders of the pharmaceutical company, Charles Pfizer and Charles Erhardt, in their mid-20s, always had the passion for setting up a venture that would help humankind. So they initially set up a few chemical businesses in a Brooklyn factory by taking a loan. The history began with the company's anti-parasitic drug, which tasted like toffee. It was a big success and acted as the foundation for its future development. The turmoil created by the American Civil War, which broke out in 1892, impacted almost all sectors, and the nascent pharmaceutical industry in general also had to take the blow. However, soon drug producers were needed in demand as much as the weapon manufacturers. With the armies getting injured, the scope for expanding production was triggered. Enormous quantities of painkillers and antiseptics were produced. So by 1868, the company's revenues doubled and product lines expanded greatly. After the effects of war succumbed, the company began focusing on industrial chemicals like citric acid. The chemical was needed for emerging soft drinks and fueled brands like Coca-Cola. It laid the basis for the company's continued growth. It then became the leading chemical supplier in the US by supplying tartaric acid as its supply was disrupted due to increased cost and civil war. Later, antibiotics helped the company to become modernized. The company strengthened its base and expanded to 9 more countries in 1950. In 2007, Pfizer earned about $12 billion by selling Lipitor. Also, throughout the 60s and 80s, the company introduced many drugs. The company now has a significant foothold across the globe by introducing COVID vaccines and boosters into the market. The pharma company, like other endeavors, had its fair share of controversy as they are one of the most well-known drug makers. In 2009, the company had to face a lawsuit. A legal settlement of $2 billion was demanded over marketing practices done for promoting the use of the drugs. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and turn on the post notifications so that you don't miss out on upcoming content. It was around the same time that the company announced a large number of manufacturing and R&D sites worldwide, and it included the Sandwich facility. At the time, the facility had about 2,400 employees. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, many companies faced pipeline difficulties. The drugs accounted for about 40% of problems, and a cascade of drug failures followed. The anti-cholesterol drug released by the company caused an increase in deaths. The shocking results came a few days after Jeff Kindler, the CEO of Pfizer, claimed that the drug would become one of the most important compounds of our generation. Similarly, the anti-osteoarthritic drug also failed in trials. However, these challenges didn't let the company down once and for all. The team used it to focus on other means to help the company maintain a dominant position. One factor that allowed the company to get back on track was the appointment of new CEO Kindler. The company has also been proficient in exerting political influence to conserve its interests and came as the 6th largest lobbyer in Washington. They spend almost $25 million to push the counterfeit drug up the political agenda. To establish a positive image, the company also began spending money generously on charity and donated AIDS drugs to developing countries and poor communities in the US. It's not surprising that Pfizer has embarked on a cascade of mega mergers, which includes that of Warner Lambert in 2000, Wyeth in 2009, Pharmacia and Upjohn in 2002, and Medivation in 2016. Pfizer's proposal to buy Hospira in 2015 for a whopping amount of $17 billion doesn't come as a surprise. Hospira was a venture specializing in the production of injectable drugs and biosimilars. At the time, the products in general created real wave in the market. It seemed like the company planned on separating the patent-protected medicine business from its off-patent portfolio. However, these plans were later abandoned. The idea wasn't called off entirely, and the company continued to focus on the concept. Later in 2017 and 2018, Pfizer tried selling its consumer health unit, yet the buyers like GSK, Procter & Gamble, later pulled out of these negotiations. So Pfizer was forced to change its tactics, and they ended up collaborating with GSK to combine the companies to form a joint venture, which would result in combined annual sales of $12.7 billion. Both the companies are planning to invest in the company for the long term to reap the rewards eventually. As a result of the merger, two businesses are believed to create cost savings for both partners. Similarly, in 2019, the company announced a deal to merge businesses with Mylan and Upjohn Generics. The company combined was named Viatris. The agreement, which was worth $12 billion, was cleared in November 2020 and hence created a generics behemoth, and the annual sales totaled around $19 to $20 billion. On the low side, the era marked the failure of two acquisitions. A controversy popped up encompassing the acquisition regarding Pfizer's intention to exploit tax loopholes. The company in 2014 offered around $100 billion to buy UK firm AstraZeneca, which was going through a rough patch at the time. On the other hand, AZ didn't have an interest in the idea, and the deal was considered controversial in Europe and the US. The merger would have transformed Pfizer into the biggest pharmaceutical company globally. It would also have given Pfizer the privilege to avoid paying expensive taxes on foreign earnings. Critics feared that the main motto behind the merger was this redomiciling. Surprisingly, the UK Parliament got involved, probably due to the importance of AZ in the country's life sciences sector. After bidding multiple friendly bids, Pfizer put forth a final offer of £69.3 billion or $118 billion, which AZ turned down and stated it was inadequate. In 2021, Pfizer made significant revenue. The company did special packing for COVID vaccines for 5 to 11-year-old children and used a lower strength dose. The drug makers expect vaccine sales to pitch in more than $36 billion last year. In 2020, the company earned a total revenue of $41.9 billion. The company expects to exceed the pre-records and hit major zeniths this year. With the introduction of boosters, it is expected to hike up. Pfizer is the only company that manufactured the COVID-19 vaccine that received U.S. approval. The administration has also given the green light to vaccines for younger children. By the end of this year, the company expects to deliver over 2.3 billion doses of shots. Since the pandemic began, they have administered over 247 million doses. Although it has been a year since large-scale vaccination has rolled out into the market, pharmaceutical companies across the world still face allegations of corporate greed. November 2021, the company reported third-quarter earnings of $7.7 billion, which showed an increase of 133% from a year earlier. The vaccine business alone helped pitch in more than 60% of the company's sales. Earnings outside of its COVID vaccine business were up far more fair 7%. In the final quarter of 2021, the company gathered a revenue of $2 billion, and the income is expected to exceed all the expectations in 2022. The company also added that their team is engaging with government authorities for potential additional orders for 2022, which will act as another cherry on the top. They expect the revenue in 2022 to hover between $81 billion to $82 billion, up to $2 billion from its earlier suggestion. It also boosted its revenue per share outlook by about 3% to 5% above what it had been anticipated to attain. The company is proud of its financial results and is happy its products could positively impact humankind. While the team's journey was indeed challenging, the company is believed to be earning $1,000 profit per second. With time, the company has proved its importance in the sector and is anticipated to attain greater heights shortly. With that, we have come to the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video informative and wish to see more content, please hit the like button. Do let us know your opinion in our comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and make sure to turn on the post notifications so that you always get notified whenever we post a new video. Till then, keep watching our other videos. We will see you in the next one. Goodbye.